Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ian Jones, and this evening we are live, and this is the weekend's boxing roundup, or as what I'm going to call it tonight, the ass whooping edition. Yes, calling it the ass whooping edition because we're going to be talking about ass whoopings. Before I begin, I'll start with the usual spool of don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, share the videos. Obviously, you can't comment in some of these videos at the moment because we've had a situation of a lot of people leaving some very negative comments and racist comments. But hey, feel free to leave your comments in the room. This is going to be an interesting show for sure. Okay, so where do we begin? Let's talk about the weekend's events. The weekend's events, which included Josh Warrington in another Sky event, which I didn't watch, frankly. I knew Josh Warrington would win the fight. I can't tell you that I'm a great Josh Warrington fan, and it's just a matter of when he fights Lee Selby. I think Lee Selby's gonna take him out. He's got no punch power, and you need to have some form of a punch if you're gonna fight Lee Selby. I can see Lee Selby bedazzling him with punches because Warrington comes in straight lines, and I can see Lee Selby stopping Warrington second half of a fight. So I didn't even watch the fight, to be honest. I knew it was on, and I didn't even turn to watch it. Sorry, boxing fans. So moving on. Okay. Yep, there's lots to talk about in terms of, let's move on and let's talk about, for example, the first fight up was Steve Cunningham against the reigning champion, Christoph Glowacki. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And my concerns coming into this fight was obviously we knew that Steve Cunningham had fought 6 fights as a heavyweight. He was a former IBF cruiserweight champion and a very good cruiserweight champion to that. But he fought 6 fights at heavyweight, coming back down to cruiserweight without any warm-up fights. We wanted to know how much Steve Cunningham had left in the tank and whether taking off that weight from heavyweight coming back down to cruiserweight would have affected him in the way, sort of like Roy Jones moved from heavyweight right down to from heavyweight back down to light heavyweight to fight Tarver, or how Eddie Chambers moved from heavyweight down to cruiserweight. They weren't the same fighters. Was it going to fit Cunningham in the same way, especially being 40 years old? Now, Cunningham wasn't a big heavyweight, as he told everybody. He wasn't a big heavyweight. My concerns were he'd been in every fight with Steve Cunningham as a tough, hard, Steve Cunningham never does things the easy way, which makes him an entertaining fighter. But in terms of longevity in his career, how long that would last, in terms of, at 40 years old, how much was left in the tank? I think I was quoted in saying in my pre-fight video that he was 38 years old. Didn't realize he's actually 40. So, so for me, it was about how much he had left in the tank versus what we knew of Glowacki. His knockout victory of Huck coming off the deck proved he had some guts, some balls, and actually proved that, he could punch. Everyone in the cruiserweight division can punch. So that is, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that about the cruiserweight division. So what would happen if these two guys met? I wanted to know what Steve Cunningham's punch resistance was like back down cruiserweight. I mean, his punch resistance seemed pretty good at heavyweight. Bearing in mind, he took punches from noted punchers like Amir Mansour. He was able to take the punishment early doors from Tyson Fury, who a guy who's 6'7", 6'9", 240 plus pounds, hitting you on the chin. I guess at that weight, I don't know if it's so much about your chin or the ability for you to see punches come at you a lot slower, because you've been in a career fighting guys who are a lot quicker. So coming back down the cruiserweight, one of the first things I noticed about Cunningham was that when he was fighting Glowacki, he kept getting hit with a straight left hand all the time, all the time. And early doors, it seemed that Cunningham was going to try and bully Glowacki, and he's not noticed as a big one-punch knockout artist. Although he drops Tyson Fury, his hands down by his side and was off balance, and he's quite square in front of him. You know, Cunningham's not noticed as a big puncher, even at cruiserweight. He's a respectable puncher. He's one of these guys who gets your attention, you know, with clusters of punches. So coming into this fight with Glowacki, it was a matter of, for me, I thought, oh well, you know, when I first heard the fight, I thought, oh, Glowacki, as soon as he hits him, will knock him out. But I thought, no, Cunningham's is stronger than this. He's better than this. He's got good boxing skills, and technically, in his heyday, you'd take Glowacki to school. Well, you know, he's 40 years old now. What does he bring to the table? And like I said, early doors, it looked like Cunningham was looking to take the fight to Glowacki. A lot of people said that if Cunningham didn't win this fight, you know, unanimously in terms of completely outbox Glowacki, make it as clear day that there was no way Glowacki won this fight on points, or he'd have to knock Glowacki out. So there had to be some sort of game plan for that to happen. Got people in the room, so let's see the people in the room. Marky BA, Cameron Gillen. So good evening to you, Michael Redmond and CPEFCA. Good evening. So watching the Cunningham Glowacki fight, it seemed to me Cunningham was, I don't know what the game plan was, but it seemed to me it was Christmas time for Glowacki, because first of all, every time he threw the left hand, Cunningham couldn't get out the way of it, and he was getting hit disturbingly a bit too much. His balance wasn't great, Cunningham, and he kept walking onto the left hand all the time. My question was, what was the game plan going into the fight? I'm always interested to know what a game plan is. Nazim Richardson is an astute trainer, been around the block so many different times, very experienced. So I'm not knocking the game plan in terms of what it was. But what exactly were they trying to do? Were they trying to outbox Glowacki from the outside? Were they trying to stay on the inside and stay on Glowacki's chest? I was a bit confused as to what was happening, because it just seemed to me when Cunningham was on the outside, he was the guy who had the longer reach. So was he going to stay outside and use the jab and keep Glowacki on the outside of the jab and keep hitting him with straight right hand? Was he going to use that? Was that the game plan? If so, why was that not executed for the whole fight? Was it that he was going to go and work to Glowacki's body, look to take him into the second half of the fight and maybe force a late stoppage? Was that the game plan? Was it going to be an all-out war where he was going to sit on Glowacki's chest and try and take it to Glowacki? Was he going to close down the range and not allow Glowacki to shoot the left hand over the top? What was the game plan from Steve Cunningham? What I saw was when he was on the outside, Glowacki was landing a straight left hand, and Cunningham was quite happy to literally walk through Glowacki to get to him. I didn't understand it. So every time he kept walking forward and get hit with a straight left hand, eventually he was leaving invitation for him to get dropped. So okay, you get dropped once. All right, so we know Glowacki can punch. Then you get dropped again. Okay, so you get dropped twice. So what do? You're still trying to go and brawl with this guy to try. Yes, you have the power to hurt Glowacki. That was quite clear. I think around 10 or 11, he caught Glowacki with a beautiful overhand right. If the overhand right was the punch that you had, why would you have not used a strategy to get in and out? Raiding tactics. Get in and out. Use a jab. When you're in the inside, work the body. Throw the right hand over the top. And move from side to side. You clearly have got better movement than Glowacki. Even at 40 years old, you looked impressive. Why are you standing toe-to-toe and have a bang him up with Glowacki? I didn't understand what that was or why that was. If the plan was to take the wind out of Glowacki's sail and try and stop him late in the fight, okay, you work in the body. Use the jab, work in the body. Don't get engaged in a toe-to-toe shootout with him. Because you know that if you get dropped in this fight, that's points that are going to go against you anyway, regardless where you are in the world and what the judging is like. So I never understood what Cunningham was doing. So you saw the fight yourselves. You saw what happened. Glowacki showed plenty of heart. Limited though. Apart from the straight left hand, he didn't seem to know what to do when he was on the inside, which was surprising. He didn't know what to do inside. Did a lot of holding, tying up on the inside, where Cunningham was able to get inside and do what he wanted to work. So I never understood why at no point did Cunningham or his trainer say to him, look, this guy's not great on the inside. Let's use the jab. Let's get on the inside. Let's keep this guy let's keep on the shoulder of this guy, on the chest of this guy, and let's work the inside. Let's work the body. Let's drill the body. And let's throw the right hands over the top. Didn't see that. I was confused. And you're trying to fight for that to become cruiserweight champion of the world. So I know Cunningham took more chances. I know Cunningham looked very exciting in this fight. You know, he's looked very energetic for a 40-year-old, looked very engaging. But in terms, if this was just a fun fight, great. But to fight for the IBF Cruiserweight Championship of the world, to me, I'm not sure there was much thought into what Cunningham was doing. Now, I might be getting really a lot of stick on this, but let's hear what people are thinking about it in the room. Evening, Mark Smith. Marky BS says, I'd like to see Bellew versus Cunningham or the Polish fighter. Yeah, I thought that was the first thing I thought after the Cunningham loss to Glowacki. I said I'd like to see Cunningham. I'd like to see Cunningham against Usyk. I'd like to see Cunningham against Bellew. I'd like to see those fights. I don't think it's all lost for Cunningham. I think he can make some exciting fights. I'm not sure if Cunningham could end up now becoming a gatekeeper. I don't know. But Cunningham certainly is. He's got something left. I don't know where he goes, but I don't know. Anybody want to talk about Cunningham? We're not talking about kind of like want to talk about the Cunningham fight first and foremost, and we can go to Errol Spence afterwards and Gary Russell Jr. But if there's no Cunningham comments, I'm going to keep talking about Cunningham. Okay, so in terms of Steve Cunningham, his future, where does he go from here? I think there's lots of exciting fights for Steve Cunningham still. Like I said, Usyk. Maybe Usyk may want to make a first defense of his title. I think I'm jumping the gun slightly here, but Usyk, Alexander Usyk will be fighting Usyk is going to be fighting Glowacki next. As far as I'm concerned, Glowacki is keeping that title on hold because if he's only got a straight left hand, Usyk hits with both hands. He's fast. Usyk is a man that can get in and out. He can get in and out. That was a strategy I would like to have seen from Cunningham. Usyk has the ability. He's got the feet footwork to get in and out. He's got that herky-jerky style, which is what Bashir talks about technically for him so he can't get time with shots. Herky-jerky, you know, not let you really feel his rhythm. He's got good hand speed. He's got good power, very good power. And if he's getting hurt by Cunningham, you know, and he's getting hurt by, get dropped by a hook, you can only wonder what Usyk is going to do with Glowacki. Glowacki is a vulnerable champion. If Usyk is going to fight him, it's going to be a great fight because of Glowacki's heart, of Glowacki's chance, his puncher's chance. But that's it. Technically, Usyk is going to take this. I believe he's going to take this title from Glowacki in devastating fashion. Devastating because these are two guys who are going to come to fight. Two guys are going to come in and engage. I think once there's two guys come to engage, we're going to have what a fight we're going to have for the Cruiserweight Championship of the world. But I back Usyk to win the fight because I think technically he's a better fighter. Footwork's better, puts his punches together better, has a better all-round game than Glowacki, who just seems pretty much at times one-dimensional, straight left hand over the top, and you know, with a big heart and a good chin. That's what it seems to me, and that's what the Cunningham fight showed. So all in all, question marks as to what strategy Cunningham had. That's my question marks over Cunningham, what his strategy was going into fight. As for Glowacki, what's his strategy going to be when he fights Alexander Usyk? He better come up with something better than what was on the table against Cunningham. For a 40-year-old man is pushing you life and death, then God only knows how you're gonna handle Alexander Usyk, because he's just technically, I think, a much better fighter at this stage of his career. Let's hear what people are saying. Right. Hugo 22899 says, totally agree with your thoughts on Cunningham. He did a lot without doing anything, if you get what I mean. I didn't understand the game plan at all. There you go. Cameron says, Cunningham should fight Usyk, but does Cunningham want to be the guy who used to test these prospects when he was once the best at that weight? That's a good question, Cameron. It's a good question. But all he would need is to beat one of these guys, these top guys, and he's right back in there. Usyk takes that Glowacki, no problem. I think so too. Mark Smith says Cunningham should retire. All he is now is a good name on someone's record. I totally agree. I think Bellew beats Glowacki. This is something that somebody said to me. Bellew beats Glowacki. Well, I mean, didn't Glowacki go? Did Bellew and Masnik go had toe to toe? I'm not sure about Bellew's punch power in the cruiserweight division. Still, I'm not too sure about it. But I wouldn't like to see Bellew at the end of the left hand of Glowacki. That's what I'm saying. I've missed some comments above. Okay, thank you for letting me know that, Marky. I didn't see that. So if you've got any more comments, I'll check up now. Let me see what comments you've got. Let's see. Are they? Yeah, I did mention it early on about Cunningham Cunningham Bellew versus Cunningham or Glowacki. Yeah, I'm not talking about Spence at the moment. This is purely Cunningham and Glowacki I'm talking. So, all in all, Cunningham moving forward. Let's see what happens with Bellew and that guy. I don't know who the guy is. I can't remember the guy's name, but let's see how he does in that fight. That'll be very interesting to see. Okay, moving on. Errol Spence versus Chris Algieri. This is what a lot of people in the room are talking about. Let me give you my breakdown, and then I'll get into what people are saying. Now, first and foremost, let me tackle one thing here. That is what you call an arse whipping. This is the arse whooping edition, and we're talking arse whoopings. That fight there with Errol Spence and Chris Algieri was a, what they call it, a registered arse whooping. That is on paper an arse whooping. That was on paper. I saw as on paper arse whooping from start to finish. As soon as the fight was announced, that was an arse whooping. And I'll tell you why I said it was arse whooping. Somebody said to me, and I remember saying, "Oh, this Spence versus Algieri is a good fight." Now, if you go back and look at the pre-fight preview video, I said that that was no way a good fight. A good fight is where you've got two guys evenly matched, or good fight is where, you know, you've got one guy countering another guy's skills. So you've got the boxer versus the puncher, something like that. You know, Ben Eubank, both guys could punch, but Eubank was more known as a boxer come puncher, where, you know, Ben was an all-out brawler. A good fight, Julian Jackson versus Jeremy McLennan, because both guys are big punchers. Julian the G-Man was more of a boxer puncher, but he was a brutal puncher. We're talking at star matchups. Okay, Algieri Spence was no way in hell a good fight. And here's my breakdown as to why it was never a good fight, but it was really a promotion. What reason? Number one, Chris Algieri had been dropped by Manny Pacquiao to be dropped by Provodnikov. When you get dropped by Provodnikov, there's even two reasons why you get dropped by Provodnikov. Reason number one, and I don't think Provodnikov can box. I think he's a straight-up brawler who catches punches on his chin. Exciting to watch for some. I'm not disputing that. But technical boxing ability, zero, zilch, none. In fact, you get caught by Provodnikov, and with slow hands. The reason why you're getting caught with Provodnikov is because you're not judging your distance and your timing. You're not utilizing your jab. You're not keeping a guy at distance. And you'll decide to go and brawl and take this guy's head off. So you engage with him. When you engage with him, then you're going to get your head taken off. Chris Algieri, for all his boxing ability and his skills, which everyone talks about, oh, Algieri, he can box, he can. Algieri's got no punch power. Algieri's the kind of man you can walk straight through, straight forward and straight through. And all it was Algieri's name was put against Pacquiao, Khan, and Provodnikov. He got dropped by Provodnikov, I think, multiple times. He got dropped by Pacquiao 6 times. He didn't get dropped by Khan, but, you know, and he hurt Khan in that first round. So for me, he comes against Spence, who, what did Spence do before the fight? I didn't need anyone to tell me Spence was a good fighter. You could tell he could box punch. He's a boxer puncher. You could tell that. You could see if you look at previous fights, vicious body puncher, works well to body and head. In the trenches or in up close, he tucks up nicely. He can counter well. He's very well poised, good balance. You don't need to watch Spence versus Algieri to understand that. All I could see was that was an ass whooping that was coming, and that was a good ass whooping that was coming. Oh, Algieri's a tough man. That's what I kept hearing. Algieri's a tough man, and Algieri went the distance with Pacquiao, and Algieri went the distance with Khan. All due respect, Spence didn't start his career in a lighter weight division. He didn't start as a lightweight. So that's the first thing we need to clarify. Khan and Pacquiao, with all due respect, started their careers at lighter weights. Khan started at lightweight, and Pacquiao started at, I don't know, below lightweight, way like featherweight or something like that. So somebody will correct me on that, but it was lower than lightweight. Okay. So Spence is physically, naturally a bigger man from the start, or bigger boy, if you want to look at it that way, or bigger man from the start. Secondly, Pacquiao and Khan are not guys that go to the body, work the body notoriously, and then come up to the head. This guy worked with vicious body punching. So I said to everyone, this is what's going to happen. Spence is going to walk down Algieri, because Algieri can't punch. He's going to work the body, bring the uppercuts inside. He's going to work from body to head, body to head, body to head. You can't keep, and Algieri's got no punches to keep him off. So basically, it's like you with a water pistol. You ain't even got water in the water pistol. And here's me with my gun, and I'm ready to shoot bullets. What do you expect to happen? It was a mismatch from the start. It was just Algieri had a name, and he couldn't punch. That's all that fight was. Plain and simple. So how can somebody call that a good fight? I don't see how to see it a good fight. One guy has got punch power and he's going to break you down, and the other guy who's going to run around the ring and try and fight for his life. That's what it was. That's just honest. That's how I saw it. So, and all we saw there was an administered beating from Spence to Algieri. Now, does that make Spence a world beater? He beat a guy that fought on the world stage. Yes. But how does Spence do against a guy who punches equally as hard as him? How does Spence do against a guy who can take his best shots and fire back at him just as hard? How does Spence do with a guy that has got better footwork and better movement than him? That's a different situation. But against the likes of Algieri and that type of straight up type of guy, he's cannon fodder for Spence and make Spence look great. So those are my thoughts on Spence versus Algieri. But those were thoughts I said beforehand. Arse whooping. That's it. That is what you tuned in to watch, an arse whooping. Now let me go back and see what people have got to say about Spence and Algieri, and we'll take it from the top of the Cameron says Spence card was a good one, well worth staying up for. Marky B says Spence did what he had to do. Still not sold in him until he fights someone worth beating. Good point. I agree. Would like to see Cameron would like to see Spence fight another top contender before fighting Brook. Okay. CPFC says I hate when somebody has one good performance and thinks they're a world beater. Mark Smith says Spence looked good. Jerry Boy says Spence looked great, but these talented South boys have such advantage, it pisses me off. Marky B agrees with CP, says it's annoying. Most casuals think because you have one good fight against one decent opponent, you're a world beater. I think I touched on that earlier. He says Spence needs to beat someone like Guerrero or Chavez Jr. to put him up there with the likes of Thurman Porter. Well, first of all, I believe Chavez Jr. is about 3 weight divisions above. I think Chavez Jr. was fighting light heavyweight last time I saw him. And as for Guerrero, you prove nothing beating Guerrero because Guerrero is shot to pieces. So him beating Guerrero is a similar fashion. Guerrero started his career lightweight, I believe, and moved up. Guerrero will get the granny smashed out of him. And Guerrero will probably get beaten worse than how Thurman did the job, because Thurman does the job on the move, whereas Spence is more likely to stand his ground, work the body. He'll stop Guerrero inside the distance. So I would not like to see Guerrero versus Spence. Thurman, yes. Porter, yes. Brook, yes. Bradley, yes. Good fights. Let's see where we're going now. Let's go down. Marky B, you're right. Terrible matchup, says Marky B. Marco says, should I tweet the Box Nation to crush a clip from the interview? Haha, good man, funny. Spence should fight someone like Guerrero next, the loser of Thurman Porter at the end of the year. I would not touch the Guerrero fight. Spence knew that Algieri could not. Hugo says Spence knew that Algieri could not hurt him, so he pretty much decided to walk him down, take him out. Great performance, a little raggedy at times, but he clearly felt he could take chances. Yeah, exactly my point too. Marky B says Spence is wild, trying too hard, a bit like that Mayweather fighter Davis. Okay, got a lot to learn to mix with the big boys. Cameron says Spence looked very good, quick and explosive. Greatest athlete, as I said, is his ability to keep range and then use athleticism to close the range quickly and then unleash shots and blows to get them out. Very, very good, Cameron. I agree with that too. Mark Algieri wasn't much of a threat. I want to see him with Diego Chavez. Diego Chavez would be a good fight. Diego Chavez would be a good fight. A good testing fight. Guerrero will get this. Chavez, Guerrero is going to get smashed to bits. Forget Guerrero. Diego Chavez is a good fight. Chavez is a better fight. Durability will punch back. Forget Guerrero. HH1200 says Guerrero is a broken fighter. Spence pounds him. Chavez looks interesting. Yes. Chavez is actually stylistically probably the best fighter there for Spence at this point, outside the champions at the 147. I agree. Chavez was slightly stopped by Thurman. I agree. Chavez is a good fighter. Shalom, Bayloric. Shalom, brother. Peace with you too. Chavez Jr. What the F? Yeah, I agree with you there. Chavez Jr. No way. Spence needs to step up and fight GGG. Why is he ducking him? Spence welterweight, GGG middleweight. I don't get it. Sports Junkie, GGG, what the F? Yeah, that's my thought. So we agree. Wrong Chavez Ingram. Yeah, we're talking Diego Chavez. Yeah, Diego Chavez is cool. Chavez, yeah, well, hold on. We've got a guy in the room who thinks Spence should fight Gennady Golovkin. So that guy who's talking about Gennady Golovkin in the room, can you tell me the world beaters that Gennady Golovkin's fought, including Martin Murray, David Lemieux? Could you name them for me, the world beaters? Jay Hunter says, Cameron says, yeah, forget Guerrero, actually. I agree. And then Jay Hunter says, he's still going on about Gennady Golovkin versus Errol Spence. Errol Spence is 24, I believe. Gennady Golovkin's 34. Gennady Golovkin's a world champion. Errol Spence is trying to be a world champion. Jay Hunter, these are the type of guys that do boxing no favors whatsoever. Jay Hunter says, Errol Spence is a fraud. He's a hype job and a coward. I have no respect for him. Till he fights someone, and that someone is Gennady Golovkin. He needs to fight him next, or he's ducking him. That's what Jay Hunter talks about. Gennady Golovkin versus Errol Spence. You people in the room can decide for yourself what you think. I missed half of Cunningham fight. Box Nation is a ripoff. So sad. I'm sorry to hear that. I just watched a live stream from America. Best way to be. No satellite signal all night. What are your views on that? Don't know. Didn't watch any of the Box Nation coverage, to be honest. Marky B here says, Golovkin's a middleweight, you dummy. Your trolling is embarrassing. Jay, do you have any Jay, do you have anything remotely that makes sense, you say? Mark says, don't start hating on GGG. Just leave that. You until next week. Cameron says, what makes me laugh is Jay saying Spencer fraud fighting bums, then uses GGG, who hasn't got an elite win, as a better example. Right. Sports Junkies Fix says, LOL, GGG, where do these cats come from? Yeah, I don't know. Jay Hunter, I think he's trolling for just to get some attention. Marky B says, putting middleweights in with welterweights in a pro fight. This guy just doesn't understand boxing. No. Hell no. I'd rather listen to Box Nation crew than the shit that comes from the mouths of our commentators here across the pond. Well, I have to say, going back to the Algieri, Chris Algieri, Errol Spence. Sorry, this GGG thing's getting my head. Right, I have to go back to this, people, because it's quite funny. When they were talking about, it was, what's his name again? BJ Flores. I think it's BJ Flores. I'm sorry, but I can't listen to him for too long. I find him extremely annoying to listen to. Extremely annoying to listen to. He says it about 8 times. Good evening, JD. He said, "Oh, Algieri, Algieri's never been knocked out. Pacquiao dropped him, but Algieri's he's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked out. Okay, we got your point the first time. He says about 6 times, like he's trying to make a point. Oh, that was a spectacular performance. Yeah, spectacular performance by Errol Spence. Errol Spence being the first man to stop Chris Algieri. Yeah, but the 2 guys that fought Chris Algieri were from lower weight classes. Your point? If you'd done your research before the fight, you'd have realised that Spence, this is his weight category. Whereas Khan and Pacquiao came from lower weight categories and moved up. So they had speed and a bit of power. This guy had natural welterweight power with speed. So where do they go from here? Chris Algieri. And that's another thing. What was the game plan from Chris Algieri and John David Jackson? I mean, what I want to know from the start is, did they really think they were going to beat Errol Spence? 2, so why was Chris Algieri trying to fight Errol Spence as a puncher? His strategy looked like he was a puncher. He didn't look like he was trying to. He looked like he was trying to. He's trying to punch with a puncher, and you can't punch. I didn't understand that game strategy. Somebody could explain to me what is Algieri's. I understand. Jay Hunter is a Oh, he's just coming to spam the room. Sorry, Jay. No disrespect, but see you. I think we've cleaned that up now, so we don't have to listen to that anymore. Right. Yeah, what was the game plan for Spence? I'm very interested in game plans. Didn't understand his game plan either. So we'll leave that where it is. Cameron says, I never understood why people said Algieri could outbox Spence. Jackson doesn't train fighters that way. Was never going to happen. No, it wasn't. I think people need to understand between a boxing trainer and a magician. And the thing is, if Brook fights Spence, which is the fight I was talking about, there's no way Spence could use that strategy against Brook. What Spence will have to do to fight Brook is to find a way to get inside of Brook. And when he gets inside, rattle them body shots off. Because if there's any vulnerability about Brook, it's the body shots. Kell won't get walked down as the rest of Spence's opponents. Kell has the power in both hands. It's Chris counter puncher, but he's proven he can come forward off his front foot. Kell Brook on his back foot against the rope. Brook's back is against the ropes, like Thurman, when their back's against the ropes, not when they're at center ring. When they take center ring, Brook is great when he can control the space and distance. When you're on top of when you get quickly on top of Brook and close the range with Brook is ineffective. You've got to look at Brook's best fights. If you look at the Porter fight, I look back. That's the best I've seen Kell Brook fight, because he had to fight at a very high pace. He had to put a high load of punches out, and he had to fight with a guy pushing him. But Porter didn't fight the right way against Brook. Porter didn't look to take the steam out of Brook's legs to look for a stoppage late on. Look at the Carson Jones fight. Carson Jones did the right thing. He used a jab to work his way inside. When he got inside, started working Kell to the body. That's how Spence has got to fight Kell Brook. He's got to use his jab, his southpaw stance, sting Brook, and work the body. They're both guys who fight from the outside, it seems to me. But I think he's a better body puncher, I think. So Brook is not good. He's not effective when you're on his chest. And we don't know what Spence is like when he's getting hit cracked with hard punches. So he has also proven he has great stamina and can go into deep waters. Yep. Who wins now, Brook or Spence? I think it's a great fight. Technically, I know people say he's wild. I think Spence was wild because of the opponent he had, which was Algieri, and Algieri couldn't punch back. He didn't have the power to punch back. So I don't think that's the way Spence fought Algieri that way, because that's the way Algieri fights. And if you listen to Errol Spence and you listen to what he said he kept ducking. That's the why I fought the way I did against him, the way he puts his head down. So he's a student of the game. So let's not put the Errol Spence that prepared 8-10 weeks in camp to fight Algieri. Let's not put the Errol Spence in the ring with Kell Brook. Errol Spence will break down Kell Brook, and if he breaks it down the way I'm breaking down Kell Brook, I'll tell you, Brook is good if you let him fight his pace. Brook is good if you let him fight distance. Brook is good if you stand in front of him with your hands up like this and look at him. Brook is brilliant. Brook is not so good if you push Brook onto the back foot, if you dictate the pace, if you close the range down on Brook, and if you put Brook's back against the ropes. Brook is not defensively great against the ropes. Brook likes to pull back from punches and leave his head in the air. Brook is another guy like Lee Selby that likes to leave their chin on a platter to be taken off. Brook is open to left hooks and right hand combinations, because when he pulls back, he pulls straight back from punches. You look at Brook when he fights against the ropes. So Spence's strategy would be to take Brook and take him against the ropes and work him against the ropes. For Brook, he's going to keep the fight at distance. He's going to get those big right hands in as early as possible. Hit Spence. Let Spence know from the start you're not going to come in and throw them shots. Now, if Spence can absorb Brook's best shot, we've got a real tasty welterweight clash. That's what I think. But Spence has got to take the power. Can he take the power? And has he got the heart for a real fight? Michael Redmond says Brook punches it head in, no drama. Spence would get picked off with that wild style. Well, I just broke down the style there. Mark Smith says use the Gallagher tactic. Just take the first 7 rounds off. Cameron says Gallagher won't get Trainer of the Year in 2016. That's for sure. Hugo says, I know it's a bit early to jump the bandwagon, but I believe Spence would badly beat up Garcia. In fact, I believe Brook, Pacquiao, Spence, and Porter and Thurman would do a job on Bradley and Garcia. Yeah, Brook beats Spence with ease. I don't know about with ease. I wouldn't say with ease because you've got to look at skills there. I wouldn't say with ease. Brook does not beat Spence with ease. He beats Jojo down with ease. He didn't beat Porter with ease. And I think that Spence is technically a better boxer than Porter. I don't know if he's a better fighter than Porter, but he's a better boxer than Porter. Well, that sort of just rushing in, and when you get inside, don't know what to do. Danny Garcia is the weakest of the champions at welterweight. I don't think Kelly Brook is passionate about boxing anymore. He seems to not give a damn about legacy. So sad. Well, I think Eddie Hearn may have something to do with that as well. I think Brook, his best bet would be to join Heyman as quick as possible. That's a way to get out of that fight with Spence. Danny Garcia is food like Charles Martin. Angel will pick his opponents well. Spence style is too wild to beat Brook. Disagree with you there. Spence fought strategy to fighter. You've got to take the strategy to how you fight the certain opponent. Brook, you can't compare Brook with Algieri, so I don't think that's fair to compare. Spence in with a Peterson. Now, Spence v. Peterson is a good fight. That's a very good fight. Spence needs a chin test. I agree. Brook all day. No, I don't know about that. Hungry, more like wild. Someone clipped Spence in the 7th. I don't know who clipped Spence in the 7th. Brook can switch stances. Well, switching stances don't win you fights. You know, you've got to implement that style. You can switch stance. You know, for example, Nazim Hamed could switch stance. That didn't save him against Antonio Barrera. Mark Redman, only fighters in 147 to beat Brook. If Brook comes back as Floyd, simple as that. Don't write off Brook. You will be shook. Okay. You have to mind me for a second. I feel I need to do this quickly, which is Tita Biscuit. Yeah, review the Larty Spence fight. I will do that. Peterson versus Spence, good fight. Okay. You got a food soon. James Wilson and Jim Wilson. Do you think Charles Martin will box again or retire? Well, the money was good in the UK. Great show. Thank you very much. I think Martin will box again. He'll want to redeem himself. Any man with any sense or any pride will, after getting ribbed on Twitter and him walking around, he's a man of pride. You know, when you talk around saying you're a god and you're unstoppable, I'm a god. I'm unstoppable. I'm this. I'm that. And then you come to the arena eating pot noodle, and then you get yourself knocked royally on your dressed like a clown. Then you come out and get knocked down like a clown. You know, right? If I were Kell Brook and Eddie Hearn, I'd move up to 154 as well. But he's got more problems with 154. He's got more problems with 154, and that's the 154 division is a show in itself. Yeah, had to get the chocolate biscuits out. 54-cent chocolate digestives. Now let's see. Let's move on. The next fight in the card was Marcus Brown. Oh, Marcus Brown. I made ginger beer the best. Right, Marcus Brown. Let's get back into the show. Marcus Brown versus the other guy. Now, I want to know what you guys think of Marcus Brown for a second. He just looked weird from the start. Okay, first point, he was Olympian, and you talk about the great guys behind him. Marcus Brown. I thought that guy was terrible. His footwork was shocking. He didn't know how to box. He was meant to be a puncher, but you know his distance and timing. He looked like he couldn't get his distance and time together for the Olympian side of things. Now, first and foremost, he didn't win that fight. There is no way he won that fight. And when his ass got knocked down, The guy, unfortunately, that got knocked down was a slip. I don't know how that guy was an Olympian. I don't know how that was an Olympian. I don't know how that guy was an Olympian. I don't know how he got to the Olympics. I don't know how he got on the Olympic team. I don't know if somebody mistaken him for somebody else. But his boxing fundamentals were terrible. They were awful. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I've never seen somebody box and you see so much of their head when they're boxing. He was boxing, he kept putting his head out like this in this kind of strange way when he was boxing. You know, he kept doing this. I didn't know if he did it because he had some sort of problem. I don't know if he did it because he was taunting his opponent. He just kept his chin like this, and his head kept going like that all the time. I kept thinking, this guy is strange, Brown. He's very, very strange. And he didn't know when he was against the ropes. He was terrible. He didn't know what to do when he was backwards against the ropes. See, a lot of the trainers today, they don't teach inside fighting. But he was very. If you go back and watch Brown again fight, while he was fighting, his head was. He had this strange way he had his head. And I'm looking, this guy's going to get knocked out. This guy's going to get knocked. This guy's going to get knocked. This guy's going to get knocked down. You know, when he went down like a sack of potatoes. It's just terrible. It was whoever the matchmaker was. There were guys. I'm telling you, those two guys that fought. You could see, and I'm not being disrespectful to white collar boxing. I could go to white collar boxing shows tomorrow and get a better fight. I could go to a small hall show tomorrow, right, and see a better fights than those two guys put on. whoever the PBC matchmaker was, I can only imagine whoever it was in the back there laughing. Now, in terms of excitement value, indeed, it was very exciting, Marcus Brown. But yeah, so Marcus Brown, I don't know how he got the win, but I can tell you something now. With that, him and his trainer need help. His career ain't going very far. As to the guy that lost to Marcus Brown, I feel sorry for him. He looked better, but not much. But he lost. Okay. Now, next fight. Oh my God. After watching that fight, I turned over to watch on Showtime. Oh my God. Mastilia? Yeah, anyone see the guy Mastilia? Oh my God. I didn't think it'd get worse than Brown versus that guy. There was that Mastilia guy. Mastilia? I don't know what his name was. Mastilia? Mastilla? He was awful. He was making his pro debut. He was getting caught with left jabs, right hands, left uppercuts, right uppercuts, left hooks. He was terrible. That guy that was in the ring shouldn't even have a pro license. That's how people get badly hurt in boxing. Yeah, he didn't know what he couldn't know. He didn't know how to block a punch. It was terrible. Mastilia, and his name was. Yeah, you guys, I know you guys talk about everything else, but you're not talking about Mastilia. Check out Mastilia. Where's my man? The sports junkie fix. Did you see Mastilia? I think his name. A short white dude. He's American, and he's making his pro debut. And he fought against a black dude. Now, black dude looked half decent. He looked okay. Yeah. Hugo 22899. Thank you very much. Keep it on topic. Oh my God, you mean the white kid? He was terrible. He got hit so many times. All jokes aside, I could beat him up. He had so no head movement. That's my point. He was terrible. It was awful. He was awful. He couldn't block a punch. I can't believe the boxing ability of that guy. I don't know how. Any questions outside the topics I'm talking about? I will address them afterwards because I can't finish. I want to finish all the things and we'll talk about other world boxing topics afterwards. So please just let me stick with this, get through these things, and then I'll talk about everything else afterwards. Right. It was terrible. And I'm concerned because guys like that who make their pro debuts, and he was terrible. Here we go. There we go. He was an American, but Italian American. His corner were all hype men. No real instruction. It was hilarious. That's my point. Now, this is something the boxing promoters, well, managers, you take responsibility for. How can a guy like that be allowed to even be seen on television? That's the first thing. How did he get on television? Second thing is, how was he alive? How was he allowed to have a professional license? I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay. And the other thing is, fights like that, if a guy like that gets badly knocked out, and God forbid he has to go to hospital, that's another mark on boxing and why boxing should be banned. Guys like that should be allowed to have That guys that should never be on undercard. Mark Smith says, "Oh, that Italian guy, he was well shit, ha ha ha, the Sky card." And he goes, "Never going to be on undercard." Terrible, absolutely terrible. So moving on. This is why now you can blame this next fight for why I didn't stay up to do my boxing show. It was Stephen Smith versus Pedrosa. Now, at this point, I started to feel sleepy, and I saw Stephen Smith in the ring. The next thing I saw was Stephen Smith rushing forward and getting nailed with a big shot. And I just saw Pedrosa starting to put some lash. He started to put some proper heavy punches in this guy. He was throwing punches from all angles. Never mind the straight angles. He was throwing punches from all. He was flinging punches everywhere. I was half asleep, and I just saw. As I woke up, I heard, "Oh, Smith's in trouble! Smith's in trouble!" And I remember listening to Lee Selby saying, "Well, if he comes rushing forward like that," and do you know what was going through my mind? I was thinking to myself, "Yep." I was half asleep, and I was thinking, "Yep, that's what I'm going to say in my post-fight video." I was thinking to myself, you know what? Yep. When Smith got hit with that punch from Pedrosa, he must have thought, "Yep, I'm not fighting in Liverpool no more." Yep. You say this is not a 90-20 match or 90-10 match. This is a real fight. I mean, and I'm going to get my ass whooped tonight. That's what I thought. Yep. This is on Sky TV, but it's televised via Showtime. Yeah, I've come over to America and get my ass whooped. That's what I was thinking while I was watching him. You know, and I didn't see the end of the fight, but all I just saw is that when Smith was getting his neck taken off, his head taken off his shoulders, I just saw him pan across to Paul Smith in the corner, but I didn't see the fight. Hugo says, another poor game plan from Joe Gallagher. Smith could have beaten him, but he didn't do nearly enough. Fought as though he was in England and couldn't nick a points win. Ah, okay. Well, I just saw him get his ass. When I woke up, I just saw his head getting taken off his shoulders. So, commiserations to Stephen Smith. The world title stays with Pedrosa. And Jim Wilson says, Joe Gallagher is the guy from Shameless. Ain't no boxing trainer, mate. LOL. Okay. Moving on. And the ass whooping of the night goes to Gary Russell Jr. versus Patrick Hyland. If you want to talk about ass whoopings, I mean, home cooked ass whoopings. If you want to talk about yourself getting totally well and truly whooped where there's no excuses whatsoever. I mean, you talk about getting systematically destroyed. When you talk about levels, when you talk about you shouldn't even be in the same ring, that is how I see a world champion needs to handle his business. That Gary Russell Jr., regardless if you like him, you don't like him, that's how I like my world champions to handle the business. If you don't belong in the same ring as me, you need to be dismissed, and quickly. Very quickly. Gary Hyland, or wasn't that Gary Hyland? Patrick Hyland said before he'd never been dropped, never came close to getting dropped. Well, he travelled all the way from Hyland to go all the way to America to not only get dropped, but to get brutally knocked out in 2 rounds. Now, whoever is in control of Patrick Hyland, no disrespect to them, but whoever is in control of Patrick Hyland, he not only meets a guy who punches hard, but he punches with a guy in the 126th division that's probably got the fastest hands in the West. So stylistically, that's what an arse whooping is on paper. That is what you sign that's a contract where you sign to get your ass whooped. Same with Algieri. You sign to get your ass whooped. D-Rec Martin says, good pick on the KO. Thank you very much. Hugo 22899 says, classic example of a man being sent with the hope of winning with just heart and balls. Absolute ass whooping. I love the way people just change topic. Well, I'm talking about one topic, then they talk about something else. Then they go to that topic, they go on something else. Anyway, I'm going to keep on my agenda, but everyone goes on their agendas. Right. Gary Russell Jr. got his ass handed an ass whooping out. And that's how you hand out ass whooping. If you want to know about how to handle out an ass whooping, watch Gary Russell Jr. fight. If you want to know what happens when one guy is many levels above another guy, go watch the Gary Russell Jr. fight. If you want to know about when one guy is many levels above another guy, go watch the Gary Russell Jr. fight. That is an ass whooping. So that's it. So sorry for Patrick Hyland. I mean, what can you say? I don't know. He was weight drained. I don't know. Ashley Selby. That's a similar ass whooping coming. Lee Selby is gonna get his ass well and truly whooped by Gary Russell Jr. No, I like Lee Selby. I've said already, he likes to pull his head back from punches. And the thing is, Hunter was able to capitalize on Selby's poor defensive. He likes to leave his chin in the air, much like Kell Brook. Leave your chin in the air when you pull away from punches. Let me tell you something. When Selby meets Hunter, Russell, two things. Selby can't punch, and he's going to get absolutely destroyed. Absolutely. If that fight goes 6 rounds, it goes a long time. Because Gary Russell Jr. is just going to close the range down and just be throwing punches. And he's got fast hands as well. Bucks enthusiasts, good evening. Okay. Let's hear what people say about Gary Russell Jr. Cameron Gillen says, I like Russell's style. With Lomachenko moving up to 130, the 126 division is wide open now. Okay. Sports Junkie says, Gary is a great fighter. His fans are shit over here. Okay. So I hope he gets his ass kicked by Santa Cruz or Lomachenko again. Him against Santa Cruz is a good fight. I tell you what, yeah. What about Frampton versus Gary Russell Jr.? What about Scott Quigg versus Gary Russell Jr.? Let's not even think about it. Let's forget about it. That's what it says. Hugo22899 says, haha, I didn't want to say it, but you did. Selby will get absolutely clattered by Russell Jr. Sure, you will do. It's okay. Let's see. So, I think we've covered all the big fights that were on the weekend. So now I've talked about those things. We'll not be talking about Andre Ward or Gennady Golovkin. I'm not interested in talking about Andre Ward, Gennady Golovkin, Anthony Joshua, or Luis Ortiz, because there's no point talking about them. Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders is something I might want to talk about. It's something I see happening on the undercard of Fury Klitschko 2. I do see that happening. I know Hugh Fury will be fighting on the undercard of that. So Billy Joe Saunders defending his title in Manchester against Chris Eubank Jr. is a fight I think is going to happen. That's what I think, but we'll wait and see. What about Warrington? Did you see that or not? No, I didn't. Somebody tweeted, "Are you watching Josh Warrington?" I said no. And if Josh Warrington ever fights Lee Selby, listen, if Josh Warrington fights Lee Selby, okay, let me show that levels. Lee Selby. No, Josh Warrington versus Gary Russell Jr. That's something to talk about because they both fought last night. Can you imagine Josh Warrington versus Gary Russell Jr.? Gary made excuses for losing to Lomachenko. That BS don't fly with me. He fought 126 pounds. The fight prior and the fight after. Selby fought last week. Yeah, I did. I did a post-fight show and a pre-fight show about Selby and his vulnerabilities. Russell destroys Warrington. Yeah, I know he destroys Warrington. Why won't Josh versus Selby? Why is Josh versus Selby not something to talk about? Oh, there is something to talk about. There is definitely something to talk about, but not much. This is how it goes. Josh Warrington versus Selby. Selby outboxes, maybe stops Warrington late. And then Selby fights Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. fights Josh Warrington and Lee Selby on the same night and beats both of them on the same night. Why you hate on the UK, Mr. Jones? No, I don't hate on the UK because there's some UK fighters I love. I like Liam Smith. I liked Carl Froch when he was about. I love James DeGale. I think James DeGale is the best middleweight in the world. But I don't just like the UK just for the UK sake. I'm not patriotic for patriotic sake. If a guy is not a good fighter, or I don't rate him, I don't rate him. Regardless of where he is in the world, I don't rate him. So don't use the word hate because I dislike or I don't think a guy's style is very good. I'm not hating. I just do not. It doesn't. Those styles don't suit. Josh Warrington, I'm sorry, is not a world beater. I'm not gonna wait for him to get his ass whooped and then say, "Oh yeah, he's not a world beater." Yeah, some guys you just know are just not world class, and he will get his ass whooped. He fought Gary Russell Jr. I like Carl Frampton. I like Scott Quigg. But you know, I like guys I like. You know, but that doesn't mean because I don't like someone, you know, I don't know. So it's got nothing to do with hating. You know, I don't particularly like Adrian Broner for his antics, but I think he's a good fighter. I think he's got potential to be a very good fighter. So any up there, Rigondeaux? Am I the only one who thinks he's a good fighter, not boring? I don't know what Frank Warren's going to do with him. I've got no idea. Says Hugo 22899. Ha! Please don't do Josh Russell versus Warrington massacre. Yeah, of course. See, it's not hating. Hate's a strong word. Riga should fight Quigg. Riga should fight Frampton. Wasn't it the winner of Quigg versus Frampton would fight Rigondeaux? That was the plan, wasn't it? Matchroom shows are better nights out, though. Well, I don't watch. I've stopped watching matchroom fights now, unless it's a fight where I know, like for example, next week or whenever Anthony Crolla makes his defense, his next defense of the title, I will tune in to watch that. And do you know why I'll tune in to watch that? Because that fight is Frampton has stuck Rigondeaux though. Ingram, he's moving up to fight Santa Cruz. Well, that's a nice way out of it. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm not watching unless the opposition is worthwhile to tune into. I'm not watching any matchroom fights. Sorry, straight up. Not those sort of fights. Like the Josh Warrington fights and stuff. I'm not watching them. Sorry. Cheryl Holly says, Ingram, why do people hate you? Hate's a strong word. Listen, Barossa spots Crawler early. Hello, Cheryl. Where are you from? VokuVip.com. Thank you very much, Christopher Robert. Who have I got for Crawler versus Barossa? Well, Paul Smith said, these are Paul Smith's words, not mine. Paul Smith said, we shouldn't really jump on the bandwagon of Barossa because he only had one fight. And we really haven't really looked into Barossa's record to see if he's good enough. Listen, I know that guy. I love you, by the way. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Gloucester. Good evening, Cheryl. How did you find out about the channel, Cheryl? Barroso. Listen, regardless of what Paul Smith says, I know that guy can punch. I know that guy's brutal. I know that guy's come to fight. I know Kevin Mitchell's a good fighter. And I know that any version of Kevin Mitchell would get his ass whooped. Because listen to me, Kevin Mitchell got knocked out by Ricky Burns. Okay, Kevin Mitchell's the same guy that got knocked out by what's the other guy name? The Michael Katsidis. Have been watching you for ages, haven't subbed yet. Cheryl, you've been watching me for ages, but you haven't subbed yet? Oh, why? The opinion you should follow should be your own. I agree with you, and the opinion I'm following is my own. And my own opinion says that Barroso is coming to pick up the title. If Crawler beats Barroso, after everyone saying Barroso is going to whoop Crawler's behind, I think that's a great performance by Crawler. Hearn only cares about putting fights on pay-per-view, undercard fights that are 99-1. You still owe me 40 quid, mate, says Christopher Robert. I owe you 40 quid. Right. I like Matchroom. I think Frank is a snake, says Mark Smith. Hearn and Warren are snakes. Oh, I gave you my details and you didn't put the money in. What? Oh, I remember you. You're the one who came and gave me bank details without me asking you. You remember Martin Joshua? I didn't mean I'll bet with you. But Frank put more 50-50. Listen, to me, I prefer Frank Warren. Just put it out there. I prefer Frank Warren. I've never had any business dealings with Frank Warren. And whatever the fighters deal with, that's their business. But as far as I'm concerned, I've met Frank Warren. I've spoken to him a number of occasions. Find him a very charismatic individual. Knows the history of boxing very well. Between the two guys, I think Frank Warren actually cares about the sport of boxing more. I think Eddie Hearn sees it more of a money-making thing. So I like Frank Warren. I can't say I don't like Frank Warren because of the way he treats his fighters. He didn't treat me that way, so I can't go by that. But if you want to say that, well, I could say the same about Eddie Hearn. What about the situation with Ricky Burns? Should we talk about that? Eddie Hearn is UK boxing at the moment. Well, who said that? It's people that I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't think he's UK boxing at the moment. I believe that Warren has got a boxing channel. Hearn has only gone and worked through Sky's platform. Warren has got a boxing channel because he believes in boxing. He believes in the future of boxing. So that's what I think. Eddie's more charismatic. Eddie Hearn is more charismatic. Frank Warren is Frank Warren's got a legacy. We'll sub now. I'm a huge fan of yourself. Boxing doesn't wingy, but you put out the best content. You're the first person I check for new videos. Ah, bless you, Cheryl. Ingram, who's Liam Smith fighting next? I think Warren was trying to get Liam Smith to fight Kell Brook. I don't know. He's got a world title defense coming up, hasn't he? I remember Joshua tucking. It's Crystal Roberts making me laugh. I remember Joshua tucking people in outside a Watford nightclub. It's very funny. Ingram even got a kiss from Cheryl. Oh, bless you, Cheryl. Bless you. Nobody knows where Cheryl's from. Oh, she's from Gloucester. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Freed Khabib, you get a good evening with Freed Khabib. Freed Khabib says Joshua's 6'6", natural ability to fight, and is effing massive, and was a drug dealer, debt collector. Thank you very much, Freed Khabib. Great entrance by yourself. I like that one. Don't. Okay, when he means this, don't take it literally. There's a guy called Dwyer, and he describes fighters, and mid-range means they're neither in nor out, meaning they're not boxing from long range or they're not boxing up close. It's mid-range, so he calls people like that mid-range hookers. He's not referring to the derogatory term or the selling yourself. So I've got somebody who's just put a question point here. Cheryl is a mid-range hooker. All Ingram has to do is catch and shoot. Catch and shoot is a boxing term where somebody you catch a shot and you shoot as well. So you catch and shoot. So you throw a jab. So you catch if somebody threw the jab, so catch a jab and throw the right hand. So we catch and shoot. So that's a boxing term. So Christopher Roberts says Cheryl's a mid-range hooker. All Ingram has to do is catch and shoot. Mark Smith, I'm not even going. Cameron Gilliam says, if you run out of juice, Joshua is the man to go to. Dwight Unboxing, Bayloric TV are the only channels I view, and Hatman sometimes. Hatman's the man. Hatman is the man. I like Dwyer. Hatman is the man. Sometimes I watch Blood Boxing. Sometimes I watch 78 Sports TV. Sometimes I watch Undisputed Channel. Sometimes I watch Fight Hype. Depending on what's around, I'll watch what I want to know about. Khabib says, I assume you've already covered the Spence fight. Yes, I did say Khabib that would be a beating, and it was not a good fight, and it happened. Oh my God, Brook would have dismantled Algieri quicker. Nah, I don't think he would have done. Well, yeah, he might have done. No, I don't think he would have done. I don't think so. I might have lost a subscriber in Hey Fury, who you got? Fury. They're an American boxing channel with some good guys. Travis, something he's good, but as always swears. LOL. I have to say that Bayloric TV actually is a US channel, not a UK channel. I wanted to clarify that. Although I am speaking as UK, it's a US channel. Just wanted to make that clear as well. How did you end up getting in touch with Fury and Thurman? Fury, I contacted Peter back in 2013. That was the turn of the year, and I had a show where I would do interviews and I'd do an interview and I'd talk about who I was going to interview before I interviewed them. See, that's when I first got started on the journey. So very interesting. Why is it a US channel? Because Bayloric Worldwide is in the US and not the UK. That's for you to talk about, not me. That's what it is. Going through boxing channels here. There's an American channel with some guy called Travis. Something he's good too, but always swears. Oh yeah, that's Travis Gotti. I know Travis. Cool dude. He's an absolute clown. If you enjoy his shit, you must be on several legal substances. Hugo 22899. I check out Boxing Gossip. That's a good channel. He's consistent. He's putting the work out. I'll tell you a channel I do like. Ultra Sports. I think Ultra Sports. That guy is absolutely hilarious. If you want to listen to boxing commentary and you want to laugh, it's Ultra Sports. Absolutely amazing. When you're big, Ingram, you should set up a TV channel on Freeview. We're working on it. I thought you lived in Ireland. You thought? I do. IFL, ES News. IFL, of course. I've got to back my UK boys. So yeah, IFL, of course. Cameron, Travis is hilarious and he's unbiased. The best channel for realism is this one, Fight Hype. Like setting up a channel on Freeview is easy. LOL. Wow. It's not easy, and it's something you work on building time, but that's the direction Bayloric wants to be going in, and it will be going in there. The Boxing Voice is good on Sunday nights at 12, yes. Oh, by the way, for those people who've joined the room and you didn't already know the breaking news, could I get another Abel and Brooks interview? Yep, I'll be getting a stack of interviews soon. Suppose you're running from debts. You've run up on the mainland. Funny. He may be unbiased, but he doesn't know as much as you think about boxing. He reads headlines and decides to do videos without knowing if it's true or not. The Boxing Voice is biased, though. I know, but he's funny. LOL. I was going to say, yes, I can do Abel and Brooks interview. I'm going to try and do something a little special with Abel Sanchez. Bear with me. Bear with me on that. I'm going to come back to you about Abel Sanchez. I'm going to try and do something a little special with him for you guys and girls. ES is a joke. He openly slags the Fury and a lot of UK fighters. It pees me off. Lie detector test. Did he go? Oh, that was when you talk about Lucas Brown, lie detector test. I don't like Dante. Period. Well, I do rate Dante actually. I like how he opens up his channel. The boxing voice and boxing ego hate on Fury. Oh, okay. Oh, while we're on the subject of Fury and the subject of Baylor TV channel, I have to make this point that Boxing Nation, the Boxing Voice, ES News are all biased. I respect Eddie Setback. If you know his story, you will know. ES News sounds like a 10-year-old cartoon. He asked Clown asked questions though. It sucks. The Beam got sacked. What? Okay, right. Announcement for those who didn't already know. Baylor TV channel, the actual boxing part of the channel, has been around since I think it's no less than a year. It's been around, but we recently announced. I don't know if you've all seen it, that Baylor TV has had its little bit of history. We have on record on YouTube. You can check it yourselves. The highest amount of views for a Tyson Fury interview one-on-one. I think that's really an achievement. One-on-one interviews, we have the highest views on any one-to-one interview with Tyson Fury, whether that be with him, that one-on-one. That means one person interviewing him, sitting down interviewing him. And I think that is absolutely an achievement when you think about the amount of people that have interviewed Tyson Fury. You think about the other people who have worked out there, worked so hard to interview Fury. For us to be able to do that, I think that's a huge, huge achievement. So we got, at the moment, we've got 310,000 views. 310,000 views. Yeah, 310,000 views. So that's a great achievement from Baylor TV. So that can be our selling point now. That is impressive, mate, considering all the people he's spoken to. Well, yeah, that's the. Oh, you think about the whole YouTube universe. 310,000 and still going, and that's in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 310,000. You can only imagine how much that would get maybe in a month. We are hoping that video goes to 500,000 views and even 1 million views. Question: Ingram, you disable the comments. Why? Well, there are a number of reasons. Number one, I think the comment section generally was a place where I could get feedback and learn about what people are going, what they think of videos, and think about channel, their comments about what I've said, and that's great. But my problem is that when that's been abused, when people use that as an opportunity to spout their racist comments on racist views, when I have to get up every morning and I see comments that are racist, abusive, disrespectful, and just people being spiteful to make my day a misery. So I said, you know what? I'm not giving people that power anymore. People got things to say to me now. And then when I come in the chat room and talk about things. So that's my thoughts, and that's why I just blocked that off. I may open it up again at some other point in time, but that's why I disabled the comment section. I certainly had to do it with a Fury interview because it got to a point where some of the stuff was absolutely. I didn't think there were humans on this planet that could say those things and think those things. So, and I would suggest, you know, that's the road we're going down. And I certainly would do the same thing. Probably, but I don't have to do this. It's only for the boxing world that I have to do this. Anything else in the entertainment industry, for music, when I did my interview with Destiny Child's former manager, that stuff. Any other interviews I do, anything outside the world of boxing, it's fine. Cameron says, anyone who starts their own channel like Ellie and has done millions and millions of views should be respected. I must admit, Hugh says, I must admit, I may have given you out some stick in the comments in the past, all above board wise. But for F's sake, whoever has been giving out racial abuse to you all need to grow the F up. Have I ever met Ellie? No, but I know a guy who sparred with him. Yeah, Apollo James Jackson, so I know him. Ellie Setback's an idiot. Well, you've done a lot better than that. Something Dante. So I'm pretty happy about that. So that's my little, you know. Adam Smith is catchphrase. Incredible power when talking about Joshua and Hay. LOL. Now I like it when he goes, it's a mouth-watering clash. I love when he says that. Because every fight that's announced on Sky is mouth-watering. What doesn't he drink water? Can Ellie fight? What's my day job? Why do you keep asking that what my day job is? A setback is an ignorant hater. Fact. Christopher Robert, where are you from? I don't actually even think that's your name. Keep the faith, sir. I enjoy your content. I'm sure most of us others do as well. I will do. Ingrid gets asked what he does as a day job every show. LOL. I know. Keep getting asked it. Don't know why, but I keep doing. Been watching you for years. I do hear that one. Been watching you for years. It's something I've been hearing quite often recent times. Been watching you for years. That kind of. People say I've been watching you for years. I wonder how long you've been watching and what you've been watching. I do wonder. Cameron Gillen, do you have a channel? Do you do podcasts? Thank you to you, though. I will keep the faith and keep going. I do want to make significant changes in the future, but it just proves that if you put the work in, is Donald Trump back? No, he won't be back. As a matter of fact, while we're on that point, I'm glad you brought it up. There have been a few people that have been on my channel previously that I have seen who have made lots of derogatory, racist comments and have supported that quite openly. And I couldn't believe that some of those people were actually sitting on my YouTube channel. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned. I was so stunned. I couldn't believe it. And it's a sad world when people use color to, you know, to try and make differences between people. Very sad. Tyson Fury near Spark Coogan in the interview. That was all set up. It had been done before by somebody else called. It'd been done by Apollo James Jackson. He was the first to do it. Apollo James Jackson sparred with Kelly Pavlik. He actually sparred with Kelly Pavlik. He sparred with Brandon Rios. He actually got in the ring and sparred with Brandon Rios. He took full-fledged punches from these guys. And Apollo James Jackson is no smaller than he's what, featherweight, light welterweight. You know, and he wasn't in great shape. He was in good shape, but he was sparring with pros and taking full-blooded punches. Yeah. So, you know, staging it and actually doing it is different things. Alex Woody says, Errol Spence looked good, like great last night. Who do you think's next for him? As a lot of people said in the room, I'd like to see him fight Diego Chavez next. First time I saw England was when Hatman gave you a shout out when Chisora fought Vitali and you met him. Yeah, that was a great experience. Great experience meeting Chisora. But I met him. Yeah, I met him then, and then I met him afterwards for the Hay fight. after that, working with Fight Hype. I have a lot of respect on how restrained Peter Fury is with the whole situation. He made Tyson into the fight here today. Yeah, well, he certainly in the last interview I did, people said it sounded heated. It wasn't heated. It was just the fact that, see, one of the things when you actually interview people and you actually build rapport with the people you interview is that they feel that they can open up to you and they feel that they can express things to you and they can say things to you without being censored. So what will happen at times is when you do an interview with somebody, they will talk to you in a matter that is sometimes emotional. Sometimes they'll say something that's sad. Sometimes they'll say something that's happy. Sometimes they'll say something that's in joke. But I think that that's the thing when you get build a relationship with people. So the last interview I did with Peter sounded a lot more intense. Probably the most intense interview I've done with Peter. But that's because of the rubbish and the garbage. You think someone like Gallagher got fight of train of the year, but Peter Fury comes in, takes on Tyson Fury's career, turns him round, makes him into a world heavyweight champion. Doesn't get that. So I don't know. Ingram, you're a YouTube boxing god. I don't go as far as that. Um, I like what I do. I enjoy what I do. Boxing god, I don't know about that. But thank you anyway. The Fury who fought Cunningham would never beat Vlad. No. Ingram, camera asks, who wins, Tyson or Ortiz? Ortiz is yet to show what he can do against a tall, rangy, big man who can move box orthodox and southpaw, who's got a good jab, who's got good boxing ability. Ortiz is yet to do that. He's done well against guys his own height, who don't punch, who can't punch. Let's go back and remind you, this is the same Luis Ortiz that was huffing and puffing against Brian Jennings. Yes, he told me he said he had a cold, but Ortiz's stamina has never been the greatest. Ortiz is a puncher, but remember, when you move up in class against better fighters, you don't land the same. If you don't land as effectively, and your chances of knocking a guy out lessen. So how does Luis Ortiz do against a guy who puts a jab in his face all the time? You know, Luis Ortiz, in terms of Olympic pedigree, they said he was, as Tyson said, he was always second or third in terms of his Cuban background in the heavyweights. So he wasn't even the #1 Cuban. So that says a lot there. He says, but amateurs don't say anything. In terms of the pros, he's done everything, but he's been matched smartly. We need to see Ortiz. He fought Tony Thompson. Tony Thompson, a southpaw, slow, plodding, and at the end of his career. Does that prove anything about Luis Ortiz? He can punch, but we knew that. Tony Thompson went over. Tony Thompson went over against David Price. Doesn't prove much, does it? So Tyson v Ortiz. I don't think Ortiz could beat Klitschko, to be honest. I really don't think he could. We've got to see what Luis Ortiz. We've got to see what Luis Ortiz does when he gets hit back on the chin against somebody who has the intentions to take him out and can take him out. That's what we have to do. Tyson beats him, says James Wilson. Close fight, I think. I have a horrible feeling Pulev is going to school Chisora, probably hurt him. If he hurts him, he'll knock him out. Mark Smith says, when are you doing an evening and meal with Ingram Jones? Probably when I have my birthday. For my 40th, probably, and I'll invite a few people. Ingram does the best interview with Abel. Ingram goes in hard on Abel. Well, I think Abel Sanchez and myself have a good understanding. He knows what I'm there for, and he's all too happy to deliver. I think one of the questions I'll ask Abel is, Muhammad got knocked out badly. How does he recover from this? Maybe one of the question asking. Too many on the Ortiz hype train without paperwork. This is the point. Yemi Babatunde is in the room. Yes, Yemi, how you doing, brother? Can Spence beat Brook and can Joshua beat Fury? Well, the first thing is first. Spence fought his first world name. He was a light puncher. What does he do when Brook, who is very strong, powerfully built at welterweight, what happens when the punches start flying back at Spence? Can he take it? Can he absorb it? Can he come back? Gallagher is now 1-11 against top fighters. Only win has been Martinez disgrace. He's got trainer of the year. I said this a long time ago, and people said to me that I hate UK fighters and I hate UK trainers. No, I said the best trainer that's still in the UK is Brendan Ingle. No challenge anybody in boxing to tell me different. Brendan Ingle is still the best trainer in the UK. Even though he's not well, he's still alive. He's the best trainer the UK has produced. When you think about guys who've gone abroad and won world titles, guys who've been world champions, British, Commonwealth, European area, Brendan Ingle is the man. Brendan Ingle is the man. End of. Yeah. Cameron says Ingram's evening meal would be terrible. He would have clowns coming up to him asking what he does as a day job and giving out bank details as presents. John Fury still institutionalized. You know what I love about John Fury? I sat next to John when Huey fought Oliver okay, the War Machine, and I sat next to John. We sat down from start to finish, and we talked before the show. We watched Andrew Selby box, and then we saw what's this guy? Andrew Selby box, and then we saw Huey Fury fight. And do you know something? He is such a likable guy, and not only that, he just speaks the truth. John Fury speaks for 90% of anybody who's got A, common sense, and B, understands the truth. John Fury is the guy that speaks up for those people who are too cowardly to speak up. And when he talks about the media not treating Tyson as a champion, it's because they're jumping behind the whole Anthony Joshua bandwagon and disrespecting the current heavyweight champion of the world. So, but then, you know, somebody said to me the other day, they gave me credit for standing up to Tyson Fury. I know, again, I don't know how many boxing journalists that have an opinion of Fury that like to spout a lot of rubbish out would look in his face and tell him, this is what I think. So when he put me on, we were walking actually through, we're walking through Wembley together, all of us, myself, Errol Jarrett, Huey, Tyson, and the whole team Fury. We're walking through Wembley together, and then he sat down. We went and got something to eat in a cafe, and me and Errol ate, and then we went back over and sat down with Tyson and then his family. After they finished eating, went to do the interview. And before that, he kept saying to me, "Oh, how did you, Tyson? How could you pick me? How could you pick against me, again, and have Chisora beat me? But how you let Klitschko? How you have Klitschko beat me? And how could you have Chisora beating me, but you had me beating Klitschko? How did you work that one out? As the stars make fights." So, "Oh, really?" So he sat down and he kept going on about it over and over and over and over, and to the point where what you see in the second clip on the channel, you'll see where he comes out and says, "Well, how do you?" So you put it on camera. So at that point in time, I had to respond. In his career, he showed vulnerability to the overhand right, and at mid-range, Tyson Fury is ineffective and vulnerable, and I said it as I saw it. That's why he changed southpaw against Chisora, took out the overhand right. So that's what it was. Do you rate Galahad highly, as he's another Ingle product, gym product? Well, you can't knock the Ingle product. You can't knock it. Regardless whether Galahad becomes a world champion or not, he's going to hold belts. He become British champion, Commonwealth champion, European champion. He might not even be world champion, but he will win titles. And that's the thing about the Ingle style. They'll bring you titles. Let's see. England, why is Tony Sims so overrated? What has he done? I think he's either related to Eddie Hearn, something like that. I think there's a relation between him and Eddie Hearn. Holdwell. I personally think it's a bad move that David Price has gone to Coldwell. If David Price was going to Dave Coldwell to rebuild his career after the Thompson defeats, okay, maybe I can understand it. But after Tepper as well, I think he needs a heavyweight trainer that understands heavyweights, understands what's necessary. I think Tommy Brooks is very good for David Price. But David Price wants to be at home, wants to be in Liverpool. So I guess Dave Coldwell's good for him. But I don't know if Dave Coldwell's good enough, though. So will the Gallaghers bring you titles? Yeah, they'll bring you titles. They'll bring you British titles, Commonwealth titles, even European titles. Who wins? Current Thompson versus Price. Thompson again. Only Price is going to rebuild is the tap fitting. This is a problem for Liverpool. I won't say that. I still stand to this day that Price is still one of the most dangerous heavyweights in the world today. You still have to get in the ring and beat the man. You still have to walk. Even Tepper took a right hand, but Tepper knew exactly what to do. You got to give Tepper credit. Although he knocked Price out, he was able to get inside, do his business. Thompson was all wrong for Price. That's what I said. Price didn't do well against Southpaws, and I would suggest David Price stay well away from Luis Ortiz for that same reason. Stay well away from any Southpaw. The fight that's been talked about now is David Price against Dave Allen. Who wins the fight between David Allen and David Price? That, my friends, is a good fight. Back in the day, let me remind all you people that are jumping down the Price bandwagon now and telling me he's crap, he's all this stuff. I want you to go back a while when Tony Bellew said that Price would beat any heavyweight after he dispatched Sam Sexton. He'd beat all the British heavyweights. James Wilson, remember when they flew him out to Klitschko fight in Germany? Yes. Yes. Yes, I remember that. That's what I keep telling people, but it's all right. People keep talking about the Price thing. Listen, I think Price, under a good trainer, can come back. Price is the heir to the throne, according to Sky. Price is shit, but he beats the Street Fighter Allen. Now, if Dave Allen beats David Price, what does that say about Dave Allen? Who can run a bit of 147? He's got to get out of prison first. I think that's a good fight. Not sold on this Allen. He stuck the place out against Gavin. Well, Gavin didn't exactly, come to fight, did he? Let's be honest. I'd like to see Fury versus Thompson. Would be interesting after all the trash talk of Thompson. After he beat Price, no, Fury would beat the pants off of Thompson. Thompson's got no real big punch to talk about. He's slow. No. I like Dave Allen, says Cameron Gillen. Got to get out of prison first, you joke. Yeah, it's got to get out of prison. I think, isn't he going down for life or something? Marky Beer says he needs to prove it rather than talking. If Allen beats Price, then give him the white fight. Okay. If Allen uses his head as defense, as Price will knock him out. Indeed. He can't afford to do that. Just because you've got a great chin doesn't mean you should be using it as your first line of defense. So, Dave Allen, I'm probably going to do a live Q&As with Dave Allen. Price won't fight Big Allen. Risk reward is pointless. I'd like to see Dave Allen versus Tony Thompson. That'd be a good fight. Good learning fight. Remember, Dave Allen's only had that was Dave Allen's 10th fight. 10th fight. 10th fight. And he only had about 10 amateur fights. Come on. Give the guy a break. So how many guys do you know in their 10th fight bloody Jason Gavin? Come on. I don't think Allen wants that risk. Price has gate power. Just needs to sort his skills out. He can come again, but his chance is slim. Good point. Allen versus Huey. That's a good fight there. Huey versus White. Who wins? Ortiz retired Thompson Ingram. And rightly so. Huey versus White. Who wins? Huey. Thompson versus White. Thompson versus Price 3. LOL. Huey will school Allen. If he boxes the way he boxed against Gavin, yeah. Dave Allen's skill looks very low, British level and no more. That fight against Gavin was horrible. How good do you think Huey is? Listen, anyone who knows me knows I love a boxer that's got a heavyweight that's got a good jab. Huey's got a good jab, uses his reach, uses the jab, uses the right hand. The way he puts his left jab and his right hand together is very much the way Lewis used to put his left jab and right hand out. Like it. He's got good upper body movement. He's not robotic and stiff. Got a lot of good movement, upper body movement. Great left jab, good footwork. Able to get a guy in the ropes and spin around. Huey's starting to talk like a confident contender now. I like his attitude recently. Yes, it's time. He's got to start selling himself. I could have had 10 amateur fights and spot Price in my debut. I know he's gonna be cautious. I'd punch his head in. Only takes one. Yep. Price is still against right-handed fighters, orthodox fighters. He's still a dangerous heavyweight. Price versus Huey Fury. I think that's a good fight because you know Price can punch. He's got a decent jab. Listen, Price has got a good left jab and he's got a big right hand. Listen, all his problem is his chin. And that's because he's got no defense. If he could get some defense, if he can get his defense together, Pricey. Christopher Roberts says, I'm telling you, White is the truth. He is at British level. He's far superior to AJ. Mixing punches and touching the body was effective. Just got caught. Hugo22899 says, I wish we could fast forward 2 years and see Huey. Then he would fill out and have really good technical skills, even sharper. Chisora Price is interesting. Should I go pro? I'll banjo Price. I said Ortiz is the most dangerous opponent for Fury at this point to some Fury fans last night and got laughed at. They say he's too slow and can't cut off the ring. Interesting. Ingram, does AJ have a jab? Well, he doesn't have an effective jab. I think White will get better too. Let's hope so. Never seen him use it. Cameron Jennings, they need to take the blinders off. Jennings couldn't escape Ortiz's ability to cut the ring. Yeah. White never got dropped to sparring by Klitschko's. His chin is solid. White's chin is solid. His stamina, his attitude to the professional game needs to be looked into. In my opinion, James Wilson says Fury 1, Vlad 2, Ortiz 3, Wilder 4, Pulev, AJ 5. Whoa, you've got AJ that high up. Woo-wee! I like to see AJ fight Takam. The next guy that Huey Fury fights, let's talk about that. Fred Cassie, good fight. Where does Ariola fix in the mix? Where does Stavern fit in your mix? No chin is solid at heavyweight, says Marky BA. I agree with that ranking, except Povetkin at 3 and AJ and take AJ and Pulev out. Pulev above Povetkin. I think it's a good fight. Povetkin Pulev's a damn good fight. I'd watch that. Crazy talk. AJ has no jab. He's had more jabs than tuberculosis office. Pulev is too underrated. He's one of the few fighters who found Vlad's chin on multiple occasions. Watch Vlad Pulev fight. Povetkin needs to be up there, says Alex Woodies. I agree, Alex. Remember, Pulev got beat by the universally recognized heavyweight champion of the world. Why does Pulev suddenly become a bum? Is that, you know, 1 minute Klitschko's the best thing, and he would have beaten Muhammad Ali, he would have beaten all these other people. Then he gets beat by Fury, and people poo-poo Klitschko, and then they poo-poo Pulev. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's either you rated him or you didn't. James Wood says Stavern is overrated, man. Yeah, hold that comment. That guy Huey fighting is a bum, Ingram. That what you would say if AJ was fighting him. I don't think he's a bum. I think Fred Cassie's the guy that beat Areola. I think Fred Cassie's going to come to fight. So he's not a bum. I think he's a good fighter. You know, because you've got some track history there. And he's a guy that's going to give Huey rounds, just like Dominic Gwynn. You learn more in 10 rounds against Dominic Gwynn than you blow out somebody in a round. Povetkin's a midget compared to all the other heavyweights at the moment. He loses badly to Wilder. Interesting, says Sports Junkie Fix. AJ Sparks Wilder, says Christopher Robert. Do you know something? Okay. Fury, Vlad, Povetkin, Ortiz, Povetkin, Wilder, Pulev, Stavern at 8. Okay. AJ's dangerous because he punches with you. Okay. Stavern is good but overrated. Don't buy his dehydrated excuse versus Wilder. Okay, don't buy it. No, he's asking you to buy it, but possibly listen to it. AJ would knock them guys out too. He's a tough dude, though. Respect to Stavern. Casuals out in full, says Marky BA. Fury would pepper AJ with jabs while Joshua tried to close him down. Nobody's talking to me about the Fat Cassie fight. What about Eddie Chambers? Where'd you put Eddie Chambers? Where'd you put Eddie Chambers? Didn't Eddie Chambers fight Povetkin? Where'd you put Eddie Chambers? Off to watch Stuka later, says Michael Redmond. Where'd you put Eddie Chambers? Eddie Chambers versus Gerald Washington. Where'd you put Eddie Chambers? If Eddie Chambers beats Gerald Washington, where'd you rate Eddie Chambers? I'd watch Eddie Chambers fight Ortiz. I'd watch him fight Povetkin again. Eddie Chambers, where'd you put Eddie Chambers? Eddie Chambers should be packing bags in Powerline. No good. Chambers is 9. His skills are good, but he's wasting his career. He's fighting Gerald Washington next. He'll whitewash Washington. Fury, AJ, Klitschko, Ortiz. Win every round. Say he beats Washington on his comeback. All right? I put Eddie behind the till, says Christopher Hopper. The sports junkie says, no way Povetkin gets past that length. And the fact he practically getting rocked every time Klitschko touch him, I don't see that fight ending any way than a KO. In Russia, Deontay may be lucky he gets out of Russia alive. That's what I say about that. Cassie is good for Huey. He can sharpen those skills and show the likes of Areola and Brazil how you do it with skill and timing. Exactly. Thank you for that, Hugo. If Chambers beats Washington, he will be ranked world, so he'll push on. And if he's the goods, he will go on. Just have to look at what Eddie Chambers did against big guys beforehand. This is a guy that fought Samuel Peter. At one point, one of the most feared punchers in the heavyweight division. Samuel Peter. I like when Vlad tried to clinch Eddie in their fight. Eddie buddy slammed him. Washington is shit. If Eddie not win, he should give up and become a stripper. Yeah, he needs to beat Eddie Washington. I won't say Washington shit. Because Washington fight Mansoor as well. Wilder, James Wilson says, Wilder Povetkin's 50-50, but I think Wilder has had his time and didn't manage to become Heyman's star, so selling him to Povetkin. Okay. Robert says, I'm off now. You still owe me 40 quid. I expect it by the end of the day. Yes. Christopher Robert. I will pay you the 40 quid, but never today or any day. Didn't Cassie fight Ortiz? Yeah, he did. Was it Ortiz? I thought, and I'm sure. James is good, but that was a fat, washed up Sam Peter. You can still punch Sam Peter. Boxing, if he says Peter dropped Vlad like 4 or 5 times, there's my point. Christopher's going to crash in his gyro. Marky B says LOL. Peter only scored 2 real knockdowns on Vlad. One of them was the back of his head, and they weren't solo knockdowns to Vlad. Okay, cool. All right. I'll have to rewatch the fight. Okay, I think Scott Gifford said Cassie is a good fight for Huey. If he says it's a good fight, it's a effing good fight. LOL. Marky B, I got gassed up by England's prediction of Martin. Listen, I don't know. Nobody really knows. There are rumours that have come out that Martin was injured. There are rumours that come out that Martin may have been given money under the table. Listen, even Tyson Fury himself said Martin's a dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua. Real C Nesbitt, music producer, says, who's your top 5 heavyweights to date? I used to think Peter was massive until he fought Hellenius. Top 5 heavyweights. Fury, 1. Klitschko, 2. Fury, Wilder, Fury, Klitschko. I'm going to put Wilder at 3 just because you picked Martin. Ha 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 ha. So did Tyson. Peter thought it was a difficult fight. Though a lot of people thought it was a difficult fight. So what? I also picked Spence to beat the brakes off of Algieri and stop him inside 6. So what is the point? So Klitschko 2. Fury, Klitschko, Pulev, Wilder, and then anybody else after that. So I put Fury because he's the champion at the moment. I picked Klitschko because he's the number. You've got to put Klitschko as 2 because he was the man. He was the man until Fury beat him. So I'm going to put Klitschko at number 2. How can you not have Klitschko at number 2? James Wilson, Charles Martin drew with a guy that Wilder sparked in 2 rounds in his 10th fight. Okay, right. Well, how's this? If you want to go that way, Amir Khan couldn't drop Chris Algieri, but Pacquiao dropped him 6 times. But Amir Khan dropped Luis Calazzo, and Keith Thurman couldn't drop him once. Nobody hits harder than life. I've yet to meet a man who has never picked a right fight wrong. No. Pulev's still the only man who has a win over Ustinov. So I'm going to pick it basically on what I know. I'm not talking about what I don't know. I know that Fury beat Klitschko. So Fury 1, Klitschko 2. Because Wilder's undefeated and champion and beats Stavern, I'm going to put him as 3. and then I'm going to put Pulev, and then I'll put anyone else after that. Can't put Ortiz because Ortiz is unbeaten, but he hasn't fought anybody that I have any real respect for. Okay, Big Jennings, but Jennings still, yeah, he knocked Jennings out. Klitschko couldn't do it. Fine, but that doesn't make him. He didn't beat a world champion there, so he hasn't beaten a real world champion yet. So Fury beat a world champion to be world champion. Klitschko became world champion. Was a world champion. World champion to be world champion. And Wilder beat a world champion to be a world champion. So those are three there. Povetkin should probably come after because he was a world champion. Ortiz hasn't done anything yet. AJ is world champion, but he beat Martin, so he's still a question mark about that there. So that's my rating. I only care about how a man breaks down a matchup. Thurman's a beast. How do you not rate him? He's also a champ. I rate Thurman. I did Thurman's first interview with Thurman back when he fought Carlos Quintana, when a lot of people weren't talking about Thurman. I was asking, who's Thurman? He's a bum. So back in the day, that's why I used to talk to Thurman. In fact, Keith used to ring my house in the Caribbean, and we used to talk then. I'm a big fan of Thurman. I'll own up and say he beats them all. Well, such disrespect to the greatest of all time, Lucas Bryan. He's number one. Thurman a beast. I don't think Thurman's a beast at all. I think Thurman's a good fighter, but I think he's a flawed fighter. I think Thurman doesn't fight well with his back against the ropes. Thurman doesn't fight well with pressure. Ingram to the Furies is what Kugan is to Eddie, and B Joe says ball suckers. Ha ha ha. Mate, do yourself a favour. Do your research. Because if I was really a suck up to the Furies, there's no way I'd look at Tyson in his face and tell him that he had weaknesses to guys who are shorter than him. Do you have any podcasts with other people? Yes, I do. I've done before. Do something like the Boxing Voice. Yes, I do. I have done some. I've done shows with other people before, definitely. Who is Stavern beat apart from except Ariola? Well, if you're going to look at his pedigree as a boxer, going back to the amateur days, which is a lot of people going to the Joshua thing, he beat Hellenius and he beat David Price in the amateurs. As a pro, he beat Ariola, who everyone was rating about Ariola. Ariola, who destroyed the ex-hype train, who no one talked about Seth Mitchell, who got beat by Jonathan Banks, who everyone was rating as a top heavyweight. Remember, you got to remember, a lot of these people made their names off hype trains. Stavern was not a real world champion. He just held the title longer than Martin. And seems to be interested in boxing at the moment. No, he's very interested. He's back. Don't take that to heart, Ingram. No, but don't say things. Would you host with hardcores like myself? I'd love to. If the opportunity was given, I'd love to. Ingram, is Stavern going to fight Big Baby Miller after the dust up this week? I wonder if that was staged. I don't know. But Stavern looked dead serious. Stavern's not a guy that plays games. Don't take it to heart, Ingram, but you would definitely give. Mark, let me ask you a question. Why? See, people don't. I think some people don't think before they type. Let me ask you a question. Why would you write something that doesn't make any sense, could cause offense, and would get your ass blocked? Now you either do one of two things. You fix up what you just wrote there, or you get blocked. Just for that, I'm going to give you a timeout. because I don't think you're a bad guy, but I think you need to understand when you come on my channel that you've got to conduct yourself in a certain way. So I'm going to just give you a timeout because you're being a naughty boy at the moment. You can learn a little bit more respect. So I'm putting you on timeout. Oh, if Pulev beats Chisora as expected, how does Pulev v AJ go in your opinion, Ingram? With legal mattress, Pulev beats the brakes off of AJ. Pulev, the Pulev who's got the in and out movement, moves from side to side, in and out, has got a good jab, can punch, or he gives AJ problems. So I've just put Mark Smith on a timeout because he doesn't quite know how to conduct himself. Sports Jones says Miller is a joke, dude. Is an ex-kickboxer that has taken the Briggs route without having the Cannon's resume. Okay. Pulev AJ is a close fight. If Pulev jabs and moves, he's got this, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so. Hugo says, keep it civilized, people, for F's sake. Baby Meal sounds like a babe escort. So I think Pulev's skills are highly underrated. Highly underrated. Pulev will be IBF mandatory if he beats Chisora. Should be interesting. Copin09 at Michael Redmill. Hello, we need to talk about AJ having southpaw problems. Briggs is overrated. His win over Foreman was bogus, in my opinion. He won the WBO from Sergey Lucky. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I still think AJ has got southpaw problems. If a guy turns up to the ring and doesn't use his abilities or his advantages, then what are you going to do about that? If we're ranking heavyweights on who they beat, then Briggs must be in top 5, LOL. Well, they said Briggs is the man because he's the man that beat 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 the man. So he beat Brian Foreman. Isn't it? They said he beat the man. Briggs beat the man who beat Foreman. Foreman beat Fraser. Fraser beat Ali. Is it? Did Fraser beat Ali? He did beat Ali in the first fight. Ali beat Liston. Liston beat Patterson. Patterson beat. Oh, I don't know. But that's how it basically went. So you can track it back if you want. Joshua knocks out Hay. Good, great. I don't know why is this all turned into heavyweight talk, by the way? Wow, you picked a winner. I said on Twitter, I lean on AJ early KO. I said he would catch AJ. Basically, because AJ, not all that. It's a funny room, this is. Funny room. Funny room. Right. I hope Mr. Smith. Oh, I want to go back and see. Do you see Kell Brook taking a Spence fight? Well, Kell Brook would be advised, and if I was an advisor, I would say to him, "I'd rather you fought at 147, be a man and fight at 147, than go up to 154. Because at 154, that's a division you really don't need messing around in. That division in itself is worthy of just a show, just on the light middleweight division, really." A real Nesbitt music producer. Where are you from? Let me know a little bit more about you. You're talking about me coming on doing some work with you guys. Let's talk about it a bit more. You don't like Brook Sport? No. I think I mentioned it earlier on about Kell Brook. I said that Kell Brook looked good against Porter. You know, he fought at a pace in the heat, 12 rounds, put his punch together nicely, fought at a pace, good work rate. Yeah, don't hate Brook. But he's just got to fight better opposition. That's all. You know, he's got to fight better opposition. That's what I said, and I still hold to that point. Still haven't seen anything special about him. I think he's a good fighter, but special, I'm not so sure. I'd love to see Selby fight Russell. Well, I talked about it earlier in the show. Real C. Nesbitt, where are you from? I think it's fair to say you have a right to be cautious of Brook right now. Not as a fighter, but as a person, you dislike him. I've never met Brook to dislike him as a person. Russell will destroy Selby. Yeah, well, see that. See, can I chat yet? Yes, you're back in the room, Mark. Yes, you can chat now. But if you're warned, if you come out and start making such slanderous comments about myself again, you will be permanently blocked. So proceed with caution. There's no need for you to be disrespectful. We can have a banter, we can have a laugh at a joke. I don't mind. But disrespectful stuff, racist stuff, I don't do it. I don't do it to you. Don't do it to me. Thank you. Opinions do change. You can't change facts. That's the point. I'll DM you on Twitter, bro. Yep. Shout out to you for that. Real, where are you from, by the way? UK, America? I was only joking. I thought we could have banter in this chat. Sorry, if it was a joke. Yeah, but I do take it personally when other people that I know who are good people to me as well, not just because of the interviews, but are good people generally outside of boxing. That's what that's why I do take some offense to it, and I don't like that sort of stuff. And I was not trying to be disrespectful. How was it racist? It wasn't racist. I said it was disrespectful. That's what it was. Here's a fight for hardcores: Ward versus Kovalev. Listen, Ward wins that fight as long as he gets on the inside. As long as he gets past the Kovalev jab, gets on the inside, stays on Kovalev's chest. I don't think Kovalev, mark me on this, I don't think neither Kovalev or Gennady Golovkin are guys that can fight on the inside. I think they're both guys that cannot fight on the inside. When I say on the inside, I mean when a guy gets past their jab or the inside. Put them on the chest. Did Mark say you'd S off Fury off? Yeah, he did say that, and that's why I took personal. Yeah. Here's a fight for hardcore Ward v Kovalev. Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's a good fight. I'd like to see. I would like to see. Because Ward can fight so many different ways. Kovalev is yet to show me he can fight well with somebody on his chest. And I think Ward can get on the inside. This is what people forget. People expect Ward to just stay on the inside, on the outside, and just let old Kovalev hit him. Ward will switch up the game. If Ward can get on the inside, he'll beat him on the inside. But if Ward stays outside the jab, hey, you saw him dismantle Barrera, and Barrera was meant to be a puncher. So punch, forget the punch. So I'm just thinking on the inside, Kovalev is vulnerable. Just with Gennady Golovkin, a guy who can fight on the inside, a guy who brings the uppercut up. Golovkin, when he fights, he leaves his chin. When he boxes, he's one of these guys who are open to uppercuts. But you kind of exploit that from the outside. You've got to get on the inside of Golovkin, put him on the back foot, and push him to the ropes. The way you get him on the back foot is to double and triple up the jab, make him have to step back. When he steps back, you've got to do distance and timing. Use the jab, open him up with the jab, busting him up with right hands, and pushing him back against the ropes. And not coming in straight lines. If you come on straight lines to guys like Kovalev and Golovkin, you've got to come at angles. And you must. And another thing when you're fighting guys like Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin, this is footwork. You've got to keep them constantly moving. When they set, you hit them. When you set, you hit them. When they set, you hit them. So as they're about to set, that's when you got to hit them. That's how you fight guys like Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin. If you decide to fight Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin straight on, head on, you get yourself knocked out because you're allowing these guys to land and dig their shots in. So you've got to be making them pick up their feet all the time. Example, when Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield, good example here. Holyfield said he would fight Tyson when he didn't want to fight. Mike Tyson is very good coming forward. But Mike Tyson was never, his power and his skills were never effective when he was put onto the back foot. So what he has to do, Holyfield had to push Mike back, physically push him back. And having fought Riddick Bowe, George Foreman, Larry Holmes, much guys bigger than himself, he was able to bully the smaller Tyson, push Tyson back against the ropes and fight on the inside. So guys like Kovalev, guys like Gennady Golovkin, the guys that would beat those guys are guys that have got a good inside game, who can tuck up, do this. That's something I don't see much of, the cross-arm defense. The cross-arm defense would be effective against a guy like Kovalev and Golovkin. Cross-arm defense, put them against the ropes. James Wilson says Tyson would beat Holyfield in the 90s or before. The same Holyfield was getting dropped by Burt Cooper. I would disagree with you there. Totally disagree with you there. Holyfield will always push Mike Tyson back because Holyfield's got a heart. Holyfield will always push Tyson back because Holyfield will fight the same way. He will push Mike back. And as long as Mike's put on the back foot, he's out the fight. It's only when Mike's on the front foot. Holyfield always beats Tyson because Holyfield always puts Mike on the back foot. Mike Tyson can only fight one way. Holyfield can fight going forward, Holyfield fight going backwards. So Holyfield, for me, fights. Holyfield's problems were against movers, boxers, movers, guys who had a nice jab at them and can move. Mark Chris Bird, Mark Lennox Lewis. Guys who had a good jab, rangy. What's his name? Riddick Bowe. Any guy had a nice long rangy jab. So those are my thoughts on that. I can see Warren winning the fight. It says a real Nesbitt music producer. Okay. They are lowballing everyone. You tell me why. Yeah, you did say, Mark Smithy, you did say that, Mark. I said because he is Team Fury. Say it again, but I meant to say he is a pro. Fury, sorry, did not mean to harm you, Ingram. Oh, it's not about harming. Just don't say things that can be misconstrued. I said not you. I came in my pants when I heard Mickey Garcia is free. And he says, music producer, real C. Nesbitt. Steve Cunningham shouldn't retire, no. Steve Cunningham versus David cruiserweight or heavyweight, who wins? Listen, there's a reason why David Haye never fought Steve Cunningham at cruiserweight. Haye would destroy Cunningham. I don't know about the word destroy. Like he destroyed John Ruiz. Yeah, right. Like he destroyed Valiev. Yeah, of course he would. Like he destroyed Like he destroyed Morbic. Yeah, of course. Of course. There's a reason why Hay never fought Cunningham when Cunningham was held the IBF. You can see the reason why. Hay was never undisputed, and I argued that with Hay fans, and they thought I was hating. He was a unified champion, that was it. And Hay never defended his cruiserweight titles. You know why? They didn't pressure for him to fight Cunningham. So that's my point on that. Right, I need to come to the end of my show. Now, where is my friend from earlier on? I want to give a special shout, and I think she's gone now. Oh, she's probably gone now. Cunningham is no value F. That's my point. What's the reason why Hay never fought Cunningham? Well, you work that one out yourself. Right, I'm coming to the end of the show. Thank you all so much for watching, tuning in. As always, appreciate your support. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Next weekend is going to be casual weekend. We know Gennady Golovkin train comes into town. The #1 pound for pound, undisputed, world's greatest fighter comes into town. And he makes his next defense of the undisputed, unbeatable, the man who'll fight from middleweight right up to heavyweight, the man who can beat up heavyweights in the gym and never been down, the greatest fighter that whoever walked the earth, the man that Sugar Ray Robinson would never have faced. That man, Gennady Golovkin, fights next Saturday night against his next dangerous mandatory challenger, Dominic Wade. Dominic Wade looks like a novice. What? Wade didn't turn up to the conference because he's in jail, Ingram. What? For drunk driving? It's true. What? Where is arrested for drunk driving? GGD versus Crusher. Ah, yeah. What? You're hilarious. You joking? Are you joking? That can't happen. IBF challenges always novices. He looks, no word, Wade looks like a novice. That's an insult to novices. They're novices. There's novice amateurs that are better boxers than Wade. GGG destroys Tashan Tong. He has a police record. Check Dominic Wade. Uh-oh. No, don't say that. Hate catch weights, but Khan Canelo is a good fight for boxing. No, it's not. Absolutely not. Khan's going to get stretched out. So, what was my point? Yeah, I said next week will be Gennady Golovkin coming into town against who is he fighting next week? If that fight's not on, who's he fighting next week? Because you know Gennady will fight all comers. Well, if he's fighting Wade, fine. I don't know, but Wade looked in too deep. Good fight, as in for casuals. I mean, to make the sport bigger. Well, go on arrestreport.org, people. Search Dominic Wade. This is real. Look, I don't know. I'm taking your word for it because I don't can't get carried out on his magic carpet. The most popular fight at the moment. What? Canelo versus Khan. Well, the casuals love Khan, so you know. Can he do it? No, he can't. Khant. Khant. Yeah, can't. No. That is not a fight 160. I'm sorry. Because by the time that fight is made, come fight time, Khan may come in at 155 and no results when searching Dominic Wade. Somebody's taking the Mickey anyway. So Dominic Wade versus Gennady Golovkin, unless something else advertised. Anyway, it's the fight next weekend. I expect the channel to explode with Gennady Golovkin fans. The man that would take in Marvin Hagler. Wade is a top 10 middleweight. Yes, he is. He's a terrible, terrible middleweight. Novice. I mean, like, you know, he can just about put two punches together. I'm not joking. I saw his fight he fought against some boring 10-round fight. I saw him and I saw one look at him and said, this guy's going to get... Normally Wade is a better fighter than Marvin Hagler. Wade is on house arrest. Right. That's why he never came to the conference. Right. Well, he's going to wish he's ranked in the top 10 by every major sanctioning body. But one, they have him at 14. Boxing has Eubank Jr. over. He said he was arrested for drunk driving, implying he wasn't fighting. You literally have to box and move perfectly for rounds, every round of every minute of every round. He is in so much danger. It's a joke. Yeah. So Wade, I think Dominic is in Wade too deep. I keep saying it. And as for Gennady Golovkin, he should do a number on Wade. Fight shouldn't go past 5 rounds. And then we'll have the Golovkin fans in the room. And we'll go from there. Right. So the next time we talk, it will be the Gennady Golovkin train. What's my thoughts on AB? I hate to swear, but AB is about bullshit. That's what it is. The fight I'd love to see is Billy Joe Saunders versus Gennady Golovkin. I'd really love to see that fight. Jacobs v. Lee is a great fight. Right, I'm getting out of here, people. I've got a visitor as well. Makes it worse. I'm going to go. Take care. Keep your hands up. And thank you all for watching. Those who were in the chat room and those who weren't in the chat room watching around the world, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And those who haven't subscribed, why haven't you subscribed? Please subscribe to the channel. Because when you subscribe to the channel, that means you get an inbox message so that you know when the next live show is on. The next time we do this show, which will probably be a Wednesday or Friday, this room will be overloaded with Gennady Golovkin fans. Better get my facts and figures together for that. Take care, people. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. Good show as always. Thank you very much, boxing enthusiast. Enjoy the show. Hope you enjoyed the show. Share the love. Tell everybody about it. All the best, everyone. Thank you. Algieri is the gatekeeper to the huge fights. Khan got Canelo. Pac-Man got Floyd. And Spence is getting Brook. Good show. Good evening. Cheers. Thank you very much, people. I'm out.